In the previous video, we saw how we can secure our pages, but also serve the authentication page when the user doesn't have a valid cookie in his requests. In this video, we'll work on our authentication page to offer the ability to the user to log in into our site. First, in the auth.html page, I'll add some standard boilerplate HTML. This is our standard HTML code boilerplate, with our head section and our body section. The only difference is that we'll include the components light library to enable the rel import tag, and include with the rel import our auth dialog component. Lastly, we'll include the component in our body section as well. Then, I'll create a new Sass file named auth.scss and add some custom CSS. This SCSS will be used to style our auth dialog. You can find this file in the demo files, or you can pause the video and copy the code. This SCSS file will also compile to a CSS file. For more info on this, you can preview the styling module of this course. Then, I'll open gulp file and add a new task to compile this SCSS file. After running gulp sass to compile the Sass code, I'll create another file named auth-dialog.html to create a new element in that file. Again, I'll include some standard boilerplate code used for my elements. Then, we'll add our theme CSS, the auth.css, and include some other elements as well. These elements included are elements created from the Polymer team. You can visit the following site, elements.polymerproject.org, for the full list of elements and include them and reuse them in your projects as well. We will be using numerous paper elements that comply with the material design principles out of the box. To download the files necessary for this to work in our project, we'll have to include them in our bower.json file and run bower install in our console. If we open Bower components, we can view these libraries loaded, so we're ready to go. Time to add some HTML in our element for our login form. This section is pretty straightforward. We have two input tags, one for our username and one for our password, a remember me checkbox, and lastly, a login button. These elements, the paper input, paper checkbox, and paper button, are included in our page from the import tags, and are installed with the Bower JSON script and command seen in the previous part of the video. If we reload the page, you can see a clear material design card in the center of our page, with the paper inputs, the paper checkbox, and the paper button. Also, we'll add a user property with two-way data binding enabled. When you bind an object element, you can bind specific properties of that object. As seen here, we'll bind the username with the value of the input element and the password with the other input element. In the ready callback of our element, we'll focus the cursor to the username input tag, located in the username paper input tag. Looks like we have everything set up. Time to add our login logic in the next video.